Chairman, Mr. McKernan, I'm going to come back to you in a minute, but at that time, I'm going to ask you a little bit about some of the statutory activity and some of the, what I would consider statutory or activity that was outside of statutory authority, but I'll come back to you in just a minute, sir, and follow up. Mr. Pulte, first of all, to all of you, thank you for offering to do public service. And to your families, because this becomes a huge responsibility and a real time-consuming effort, and I appreciate your family's recognition of that as well. Mr. Pulte, since the global financial crisis, a robust private credit risk transfer, or CRT, market has been a key reform supported by Republicans on this committee and members of both parties. Instituted in 2013, CRT has protected taxpayers, attracted private capital, and provided market discipline to reduce GSE-driven risks. It also plays a crucial role in lowering mortgage costs and preparing for the end of conservatorships. As you work to keep housing affordable and maintain the safety and the soundness of the enterprises, plan for the eventual end of conservatorships, will you commit to supporting a strong CRT market to protect homeowners, taxpayers, and overall market stability?
Thank you, Senator, for the question, and I very much enjoyed our meeting. Always good to meet a fellow pilot as well. With regard to CRT, I think it's very important. I think any time that you can take risk away from the taxpayers and give it to the private market is a win. And so I very much enjoyed our conversations about CRT, and I would absolutely look forward to working with you on CRT and make sure that the taxpayers are always at as least risk as possible.
Thank you, sir. Mr. McKernan, let me come back to you for just a minute. Given your deep understanding of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and its founding principles, you bring a very valuable insight into both its intended mission and the way that it has evolved over the years. In recent years, we've seen the CFPB extend its authority beyond its original scope, creating uncertainty for businesses and financial institutions. With your knowledge, experience, and commitment to fair and effective regulation, you are well suited to lead the Bureau, and until we can ultimately reform the CFPB, I believe you will restore a balanced approach that protects consumers without stifling economic growth. Over the past several years, do you feel that the CFPB has been operated outside of its statutory authority?
Yes, Senator, there have been, all too often cases in which the CFPB has acted beyond the statutory authority, and it's, you don't have to take my word for it. You can ask the courts.
Once confirmed, what will be your first priority?
So I think the way I think about my approach to the CFPB is we've got to refocus it on its mission. We need to right-size it, make sure that we have an efficient CFPB, and we need to reinstate some accountability to our elected officials. A big part of the CFPB's problem has very little accountability either to Congress or to the president. I think that's part of the reason we've had these recurring episodes of the CFPB pushing the limits. I think it's really important that we instate some accountability.
Mr. Kessler, the U.S. has spent years tightening export controls on AI chips, yet we just witnessed what may be the most consequential AI export violation in history. In October of 2024, we saw reports from the New York Times that TSMC produced hundreds of thousands of controlled chips for Huawei. This wasn't smuggling, it was an enforcement failure of the Biden administration that could have been avoided by basic due diligence. What will be your approach to setting future export control policy, and how will you improve enforcement and close compliance loopholes?
Well, thank you, Senator, for the question. This is obviously a huge concern, both the instance that you mentioned and every instance of China's advancing technology in AI and in semiconductors. It's critical to ensure that we have strong enforcement, that BIS uses the full scope of enforcement and penalty authorities that it has, that we're conducting investigations, working in an integrated way with the intelligence community, with the defense community to prioritize our enforcement targets, and to make sure that the rules themselves are appropriately targeted to the challenges that we face. So I hope to work on that if confirmed.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Moran, I can't leave without at least addressing you and saying I really appreciated our opportunity to visit. would it be fair to say that one of the best things we can do for the American public, consumers, farmers, ranchers, businessmen, is to bring down the price of interest, or the interest price in this country?
Thank
Interest
you.
rates.
Thank you, Senator. I couldn't agree more that would be profoundly important, not just for all the folks that you mentioned, but for all Americans who are pursuing the American dream.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.